My name is Autumn Schmidt, and on this video, we're going to be talking about how to overcome imposter syndrome. So if you've ever felt like you don't belong, if you're ever in a new position, if you are doing something outside of your comfort zone, even a little bit or a lot of it, then this video is for you. I want to welcome you real quick into this video. Real talk. This is going to be some real talk. So today, this isn't like fluffy stuff. If you know me, if you're brand new to me, I want you to know I try not to keep it fluffy. I want to dive right in. I want to give you some really good takeaways. I want to help change your mindset. I believe that you are the asset right here, right now. I believe that you are absolutely missing nothing. Okay. I believe that society wants you to doubt yourself. Okay. They want you to not believe in yourself because then you're going to stay small and you're going to be easily manipulated and easy to control, which is why I created She's an Asset, which is a women's leadership training company. We provide leadership experiences, transformational training and coaching to women all over the world. It's been pretty effective. And so now what I'm doing, I've been doing this. I've been coaching professionally for the last 11 years. And so we are taking everything that I've been doing privately and with my private clients, and I'm bringing it here with you. So buckle up. I hope you're ready, and let's get into it. Okay, so I have my notes right here. So if you see me look down, here's my notebook. So how do we overcome imposter syndrome? So I think what's important is for us to really dive into what is imposter syndrome anyways. Well, I'm going to tell you a story that's in my mind going to illustrate imposter syndrome. So when I was 20 years old, I became a police officer. Now, I grew up on the other side of the railroad tracks, all right? I don't come from a law enforcement family. And when I was growing up, I shoplifted with some teenage girlfriends, got caught. I'm very happy I got caught. But I've shoplifted. I've done things in my background, right? So when I was a young teenager, back before marijuana was legal, I used to smoke marijuana. I used to hang out with people who thought they were gangsters. There was a brief period in time where I thought I was a gangster. I'm not, very much not. Very much cowgirl. But, you know, I grew up like that, okay? So fast forward, I go 20 years old. I decide that I'm going to become a police officer. I go to college. I graduate college half a semester early. And I'm able to, while I'm going through and getting my bachelor's, I'm able to actually start working at 20 years old, which was wonderful. But if you think that I thought that I belonged, you are completely out of your mind. So what you should know is women only make up 12% of law enforcement in the entire US. I live in the state of Maine, okay? And so there are not a lot of women in our law enforcement police departments throughout the state of Maine. And so the first department that I worked at, there was 2 women. I was one of 2. And then the second department that I worked at, I think I was one of 3 or 4. I was one of 4, which I think there was like 35 or 40 members of that department. And so 4 women was actually a lot of women. So initially, right then and there, I'm feeling like, do I belong? You know, and it wasn't just a me thing. Everybody was sizing me up, and everybody was wondering if I could do the job, if I could hack it, if I belonged, if I was one of them. Okay. And I had to quickly learn, very quickly, had to learn on the job, you know, if I could do it or if I couldn't, what it was going to take. And I had to make a decision. All right. I had to make a decision that this is who I am now or it wasn't. See, here's what I really believe. I believe that imposter syndrome is a couple of things. I think it's our insecurities coming straight up, like right here, right in your face. I believe that. And I believe those insecurities are feedback. And we're going to talk about that today, okay? Because it's a different approach than what I've seen mainstream, okay? The other thing is, right, so here I am, my insecurities are here. But imposter syndrome is also, I believe, it's like a gap or a space. There's this space between the person who you were and the person who you are evolving to be. For me, it was this, 20-year-old girl, grew up in central Maine. I worked on a dairy farm where there was more cows in the town than there were people at the time. and and then this police officer, right? I was working in a city, and it was a completely different identity. Do you see the gap? Two very big different identities, gaps, two very big, and here's my gap, right? I was in this gap of who am I? I don't really know. I don't really know where I fit in. I don't really know where I belong. And so I spent a lot of time doubting myself, thinking that I couldn't do it and that I wasn't good enough and that I couldn't hack it. And for some people, that's true, right? That is true. And in some situations, it is true for all of us. There's some situations where we get into and it's like, shit, this just isn't it, right? But in this particular situation, the imposter syndrome that I was feeling was that gap. And I would like to invite you to think that, give some perspective on maybe that's what's going on with you too. Maybe what's happening is you are in the gap of the person who you were. And if you are stepping out and you are actually evolving, which means you're doing something new, okay? You are doing something new. This isn't somebody who's just chilling or standing around doing the old things. You're still in the same habits. You're still in the same routines. You're not really doing anything new. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the person who's actively evolving and actively moving from one spot to the other. Okay? You could be in that space. And when I was on the job in this particular situation, what got me out of this imposter syndrome was simply being like, I just decided, no, this is who I am now. And it was when I was in this gap, right? It was like I was in the center of the gap and I'm like, no, this is who I am now. So I'm going to learn the laws. I'm going to learn everything I need to do. I'm going to learn the mindset. I'm going to learn the body language. I'm going to learn the culture. I'm going to learn everything I need to do in order for me to end up being way over here and being the evolved person. And it was an evolved version of myself. Okay. So that's kind of an example. So if you're feeling imposter syndrome, if you're feeling self-doubt, extreme self-doubt, not just, oh, I don't know if I can do this. If you're feeling like I'm a fraud, I can't do this repeatedly, who am I to be here? I will never be good enough. Nobody's ever going to see me as who I want to be. I'm a failure. If you're constantly saying this over and over and over again, we really need to work on your mindset. That's on a different video, but your thoughts create your reality. And so if you're continuously creating and thinking these thoughts, that's what you're going to create, number one. Number two, I'd like to invite you into looking at this as like, there's some feedback. And actually, what I think is that there's a part of you that doesn't feel safe becoming the evolved part of you. So let's say you are an entrepreneur and you own your own business and you have been striving to, you've been hitting, you make like 100, 150, 200,000 a year, and you're ready to go to 500,000 or above. Like you are ready to double up. Okay. In your mind. But every time you get to this point, you'll start thinking, you'll start being like, you'll start self-sabotaging. You'll be like, who am I to make these things, to make this amount of money? You know exactly the action steps you need to take. But as you're taking them, as you're making the videos, such as this one, as you're making the posts, as you are creating the offers, as you are putting yourself out there and marketing and talking about it, there's this part of you that is like, what are we doing? What are we doing? You don't know about this. You don't know what you're talking about. You can't do this. Who are you? Who even are you? Who's going to listen to you? That's feedback. And the feedback is you, a part of you, a part, not all of you, But there's a part of you that doesn't feel safe moving forward. And so here's what I've done. Here's what I've coached thousands of women to do. And here's what works for us. Talk to that part. Just talk to that part of you and see what she's saying. What's up? What's going on? And because here's what I have found. I have found that there's a lot of people that shove that down, shove it down, shove it down, shove it down. We're going to shove that down. And you're going to keep moving forward. You're right. And so there's no problem with shoving it down and moving forward for a short amount of time. But here's what I'm learning. Here's what I'm learning in my own life. Here's what I'm seeing in other people's is eventually she's going to come back up. That voice, I'm using she because it's for me, but if it's for you, it can be a he or a she. That voice is going to come back up and it's going to erupt. And sometimes what happens is it's not an emotional thing. Sometimes it'll manifest. So you'll start to have digestive issues, severe heartburn, acid reflux. You might get constipated. You might have extreme diarrhea. You might have stomach issues all of the time. It's going to manifest, okay? This voice wants to be heard. It's giving you all of these physical ailments so that you will just listen. So you might be like, okay, Autumn, so like, how do I listen? Because like, I don't know what. You have to go get quiet. You have to spend some time every day, set aside some quiet time. If you can't meditate, I want you to, that's fine. I suggest meditation. There's tons of like meditative and Hertz music on YouTube for free. There's a lot of guided meditations for free. If that's not your jam, put on some Hertz music. Okay. Hertz. You can look it up. There's all these different frequencies that you can put some good vibing music on, and grab your journal. Grab a journal, grab a notebook, and just write. I don't know why I'm writing, but this is what I think. Here's what's coming up. This is what I think. I think this is stupid. I can't believe I'm listening to Autumn. I can't believe I'm listening to this crazy lady on YouTube. I'm getting upset. She's asking me to listen to that part. What does that part want to say? What is the part of me that I am shoving down? What is she saying or he saying? What is the part saying? What am I ignoring? Where am I not listening to myself? We spend a lot of time listening to everybody else, but you're the asset. You right here, right now, you are missing absolutely nothing. You are just not listening to yourself. And so it's easy for you to not feel good about yourself. Of course, that's feedback because you're literally going through life kind of looking like Swiss cheese. Like you have all these holes because you're not listening. You get a wound, you experience trauma, you experience, different situations that really hurt you. There goes your hole, right? Like, so your body, you're getting all these holes in your like energy field, emotional level. That's how I see it. But you're not listening to your soul, body, mind, intuition. You're not listening to any of it. You're listening to your head. You are in the I shoulds. I should do this and I should do that and I should all these things. And you're wondering why you don't feel good. You're wondering why you don't feel whole. You're wondering why you feel always like something's missing. This is why. Because something is missing. But the number one thing that's missing is you not listening to yourself. In my opinion, imposter syndrome is just feedback. You just feel like a fraud. You feel like you don't belong because it's just feedback. Because, yeah, you might be in the gap, right? You might be in that space. And you might not be listening to yourself. And I'm encouraging you to go and I just gave you a bunch of journal prompts to go and write and just see what yourself has to say. Tune in. Listen to your intuition. Listen to your gut. Most people ignore it. Most people think it's too woo-woo. I just watched a video, it's on Netflix right now, of the absolute toughest men in the entire world are U.S. Navy SEALs. And they are doing inner child work. They're doing ibogaine. I don't know if I pronounced it correctly. but they're doing these rituals, they're doing these healings, and all of them are going back to inner child to listen to that inner child because they had to shove all of this shit down and go to war. They had to shove it all down, shove it all down, shove it all down. But it keeps coming up with a vengeance, and it's showing up as PTSD and an anxiety disorder and extreme rage and anger and depression, right? That's how it's showing up. That's feedback. That is feedback. So, how to overcome imposter syndrome? Listen to yourself. Know that you are going to be in the gap. While you're involving, you're going to be, oh, this doesn't feel good. But get the feedback. Listen to yourself. What is that part saying? I don't belong because I don't know what I'm doing. So how can I learn what I'm doing? Oh, we're just going to go get an answer. This feels weird because I don't think I'm supposed to actually be here. I don't think I'm supposed to be doing what I'm doing. Great feedback. Let's not ignore that. How can you adjust to be doing what it is that you're supposed to be doing, whatever that is? Okay. I'm a fraud. What does that mean? Well, maybe it means you don't have the skills. You're feeling like you don't have the skills, or there's one skill set. There's some tool that you feel like you're missing. Then guess what? When you actually take the time to listen to yourself, you're going to go get that skill set. You're going to stop shoving it down, stop ignoring it. But a lot of us, what happens is we don't want to feel that feeling, and so we shove that down. Okay? I want to make sure I don't have anything else. You are the asset. You are missing nothing. Send this video to somebody who you know is facing imposter syndrome. And if it's you yourself, go get those journal prompts and go do them and listen to this. And I want you to know, I want you to be reminded every single day, you're the asset. You're missing nothing.